Hello and welcome to wilderness.tv.com. Today we're at Blagdon Lakes in Somerset with Tony Donnelly from Bristol Water Fisheries. He's going to show us how to fish here for the very first time.
My name's Tony Donnelly, I'm the Assistant Fisheries Manager with Bristol Water Fisheries Department. Construction began on Blagdon Dam in 1891 and was completed in 1899. The lake is 440 acres, about a third of the size of Chew Valley Lake, our other main trout water. Much more intimate, sheltered and out the way of the wind on most days. The average depth is 12 to 14 feet, but it does go to about 37 foot at its deepest point near the dam wall. What we're going to do today is, when we first go out, we're going to go down to the top end of the lake. It's the farthest part of the lake from the lodge here. We're going to start off fishing floating line and nymphs. As I say, most anglers fish that way when they come to Blagdon. So we're going to go out and we're going to try that first.
So Tony, I've only really fished one fly before. Can you just show me how to put this dropper on?
Sure, so what we're going to use, the knot we're going to use is called a 3-turn water knot. Now, see, if you're not that used to fishing with more than one fly, then we'll keep a fairly short dropper. I say we know what flies we're going to be using today, so we don't need to worry about changing flies every few minutes. So a sort of probably 8-inch dropper will suffice, so take off a little bit more than you need. There we go. And then, let's see where we are. So what you do is with the tag end of your dropper, the one that you want to tie the fly to, have that pointing towards where your point fly is going to be, and then it's a case of get your two bits of line together, create a loop with them, so go round the back, so you've got a loop there, and then you just push both bits of line through the loop twice and pull it all the way through. So that's once, twice, 3 times. Always moisten before you tighten. Bit of saliva on there just to take the friction out of it. And then as it comes together and you're drawing it tight, just make sure that it all beds down properly, pulling your two ends together so you get a nice small knot that's all neat and tidy. We're going to try the red rib dowel back on the dropper.
Oh, on the dropper. So
yeah, that's right. That's alright, there we go. So the red rib dowel on the dropper, and that's just a half blood knot to attach that. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 turns round the back. Some people like 6, but I find 5's fine. There we go again. Moisten before you pull tight. There we go. And make sure, see, give me nice pull tight, make sure it's not going to snap or give too much, and then trim it down again. Again, leaving just a little bit of a tag there. And
Brilliant.
Then the fly we're going to try on the point is a fly called a muskins.
Is that black one, is it?
Yeah, it's black fly with a bit of hare's fur in the thorax and some breathers there. Looks like a emerging buzzer, but that's been a good fly recently. So again, half blood knot, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 turns through the hole at the bottom, moisten, there we go, pull tight, just make sure it all beds down nice and tight and it's not going to snap. There we go, again, trim it down. There we go, that's your 2 flies ready to go.
Right. So the point fly is the one that's fishing lower down,
Yep.
and that one is higher in the water.
That's right, yep.
Okay.
That's it.
So
What's it like having your own gilly?
very good actually, I can get used to this. Yeah. What are you doing tomorrow? Now the competition is size today. Nicky's laid down a challenge to me, who gets the biggest one.
Well,
Size is never.
There's some good fish down at top end, so some of the better ones are there. So, say a lot of the fly are hatching off last thing in the evening at the moment, so you will see, and there's a buzzer there, see it on the surface there? But there is a lot of shuck.
So that's come up in patch, is it?
Yeah, that's come up. They sort of stick in the surface film and then they climb out of their shuck in there.
Yeah.
They actually climb out of their casing whilst they're in the surface. Today I'm going to fish with 3 flies. Now, some people prefer to fish with 2 if they're more comfortable with that. Now, that's absolutely fine. It's better to fish with 2 flies and not spend all day undoing tangles, because the more time your flies are in the water, the more fish you will catch. Ideally, you want overcast conditions. If you've got bright sunshine and a breeze, that can be the kiss of death, especially on Chew Valley Lake. But yeah, today at the moment it's looking very promising. The wind is due to pick up a little bit later on today, but that's not going to do us any harm. Just hooked the first fish of the day on our second drift up at Rugmore near the top end of Blagdon Lake, and it's taken the red dowel back on the point. I had a fairly heavy hooked dowel back on the point, and he's taken it halfway through the retrieve, so he was actually quite deep down. There we go, first fish of the day. Right. I'm going to return this one, so the trick is to just leave him in the water if you're going to unhook him. Keep him in the net in the water. Unhook him, make sure your hands are wet if you're going to have to maybe hold on to him a little bit. Yeah, they're good fighting fish. No trouble. That's right. Watch it, because there's a bit of weed in there, Ben. So there we go. So when you're ready, I'm ready. That's perfect. That's just, you can maybe give him a little bit more, but don't force him. It's more important to get him in.
Wow.
Oh, that is a cracking fish, like absolute belter.
How big do you think that one is?
Oh, I'd say he's a touch over 4, he'll be 3.5. He's gone up in my estimations now. Seeing him in the boat, I think he'll be about 3.5.
That is a fantastic fish. It could easily be a salmon as far as I'm concerned. Fought really hard. I thought it was much bigger, but I mean that is a big fish. Maybe 3 pounds. Add 2, because you always do when you're fishing. So it could be well in excess of 5 pounds. One for the smoker. As a first timer coming down to Blagdon, what kit should I bring? Do you have many beginners coming down?
Yes, this lake is it's probably slightly easier than Chew for beginners to fish, just with it being smaller. It's more sheltered from the sort of windier days, and there is times when the fish are in certain areas, and you know that if you go there's a good chance of a fish. So beginners do come here, and people who don't fish that often. One of the good things about the lake is, with it being generally that the average depth is quite shallow, and there's large areas of shallow weedy patches in the lake, is that most of the time a floating line suffices. So all you need is a floating line, and then you're fishing with 2 or 3 nymphs, and for almost all season that is all you need to be fishing here, and that is how most people fish, is with floating line and nymphs. A nymph is a fly that is dressed to look like the aquatic stage of an invertebrate's life cycle. So some insects spend their whole lives in the water, other insects spend part of their life cycle in the water and then hatch out into flying insects. But a nymph represents the aquatic submerged stage of a fly's life cycle. And so far this year, the biggest brown trout is 4 pound 7 ounce, and the biggest rainbow is just over 10 pounds. So there is big fish in there. We know as well there's lots of stories of bigger fish being seen, but amongst the staff last year, one of them did have a fish over 11 pounds, and right towards the end of the season. So yeah, there's fish into double figures in the lakes.
And the one that get away is always the biggest one. So.
Yeah, well, this year a lot of anglers saying that they're having trouble with hooks straightening and being broken off whilst they're playing fish. A lot of that is to do with the fighting quality of the fish here. We have a reputation for producing, good fish with nice tails, good fins, and hard fighting fish. But a lot of the time you're expecting to catch fish sort of 2.5 to 3 pounds. So if a 5 or 6 pounder does come and take your fly hard, it's sort of unexpected, and you do find yourself getting into difficulty.
I'm new to fly fishing. I've just been out on Blagdon Lake for the first time, and I've caught this lovely rainbow trout.
Let's go and weigh it, shall we?
Cool.
What did I say?
6.
Oh, did I?
I said 4.5 to 5.
Happy days.